And I feel like they then recognize something in you. Like I remember being on Gordon Ramsay's show, Uncharted, and it was in Tasmania. It was before I was even thinking of moving to America. And he goes to me, "Oh, I finally met a female version of myself." And I was like, I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Is that a compliment, Gordon?
Yeah. I'm like,
Rammer?
but I think he was just meaning in the sense of like, go-getter, like down the line, like got guts.
That was Sarah Glover, and you're listening to The Regenerative Journey.
G'day, I'm your host, Charlie Arnott, an 8th generational Australian regenerative farmer. And in this podcast series, I'll be diving deep and exploring my guests' unique perspectives on the world so you can apply their experience and knowledge to cultivate your own transition to a more regenerative way of life.
Welcome to The Regenerative Journey with your host, Charlie Arnott.
G'day, welcome to the Regenerative Journey. Welcome to this episode with Sarah Glover, Chef Sarah Glover. She's from Tasmania originally, but she is absolutely taking the USA by storm, which is where I caught up with her at the Ecology Centre, a couple of hours south of LA in California, where they have outdoor cooking events. They do other education, teaching, cafe, restaurant. It's a wonderful venue, growing their own food, fruit and veggies and all sorts of things there. It's a great place if you ever got a half a day spare and you're heading down south from LA, that is the place to go. Wonderful to catch up with Sarah in person at the Ecology Centre there, talking about her past, her family, her future. It was actually in July last year, and she has since been married, which is awesome. So pleased to see her growing notoriety, doing so well in the United States, and a great ambassador for Australia in general. She now also sees she's doing some work also with Five Mary's farm over there, Five Mary's ranch, which is awesome. So hats off to you, Sarah. Thanks so much for your time. Talking about hats, she decided she might wear my black Akuba for the entire interview, which was awesome. I do the footage, the video quality of the interview probably not as good as I would have hoped. We did have some connectivity problems with the tech there, the Wi-Fi and so on site, but it doesn't take away from the audio, it doesn't take away from the quality of the interview. Sarah, you're awesome. Thanks so much for your time, and I trust everyone enjoys listening to this episode of The Regenerative Journey with Sarah Glover as much as I did recording it. Sarah Glover.
Yes.
Welcome to The Regenerative Journey, and welcome to the Ecology Centre here in
San Juan Capistrano. I should be actually welcoming you because you came to visit me.
But that's not how we roll.
Okay.
I welcome you to the site of our interview.
Meeting. Okay.
We've got a lovely reflection of what we're looking at. So that's a first.
The trees in the background. It's nice.
And we're sitting on the porch of a house that's listed with the National Register of Historical Places.
In California. Yep.
And this was an old farmhouse.
Yes.
150 years old, Jay-Z was saying.
He said 150.
This is so good. So I'm so thrilled we're here, because last time I saw you was in Byron Bay.
Yes.
And it was like...
It was a while ago.
It was probably 2 years ago more.
Yep.
Actually, you hadn't moved over here.
No, I hadn't. I think I was still living in Tasmania. I still have my house in Tasmania.
Yeah, your Airbnb kind of thing, yeah. And so we'll get to why you're here very shortly. So lovely to see you again.
Yes.
You've had a bit on. We've only been here 2 days, and I saw that you were doing some. You often are here doing your
cooking
on the pans.
My fire cooking.
Fire cooking.
Yep.
Look at all the notes I've got for you.
Oh, what? It's coming.
It's in my head.
Okay.
No, I because if I don't know someone, I do notes.
Yeah.
But if I know someone, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah. So I know enough about you. I Googled you. You were young and needed the money. So, no, we're just going to roll. Sarah, lovely to be here. This is amazing. Why don't you tell us about where we are exactly here? We've had a bit of a look around the veggie patch.
So this is so I first came in contact with the Ecology Centre maybe 2.5 years ago. I was shooting a commercial for Thor Motor Coaches, so they do big RV fit outs, which RVs are like a Sprinter van kind of scenario, or some of the big like Jayco camper vans and stuff. So they had employed me they basically did a story on me, and they flew me out from Florida to California. And one of the places that I was on the journey, I was fishing and hunting and meeting people in the community, and then we did a big cook-up here at the Ecology Centre.
First time here?
First time here.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was like, this is amazing, this is so cool. And at the time I had no desire to move to California. And then...
So hang on, you were in Florida?
I was in Florida for 9 months, or 10 months before I moved to California.
Yeah.
And then I moved to California. I came up to the farm, and Jay-Z met me, and he was like, do you want to do a dinner with us? And I was like, why not? So they host, so it's a 20, how many acres did you say it was? 27 acres?
28.
28 acres of regenerative farming. It's like a community farm, so they have a farm stand, they have a cafe, they have an outdoor kitchen space where they host weekly dinners where they'll raise money for because it's a not-for-profit farm here. They also host like kids camps, and I host workshops here, so it's very much a place for the community to come.
Full-time chef, Doug?
Yeah, Doug's there's a bunch of full-time chefs here. They have a apprenticeship program that people can come and learn how to farm, grow veggies, all that sort of stuff. And so I've just been a friend of the farm for 2.5 years now. I volunteer my time and cook, and they let me host workshops here, and it's a great exchange.
We saw where the fire pit setup is, or the fire. What do you call it? What do you? You bring your own. Though,
I mean, I do, and I also use their setup. They have an outdoor kitchen here, so they've got
a bus.
There's a bus, and then there's running water and a kitchen space out the back, and then they've also got a whole heap of little apparatuses set up that you can hang things from and grill on. They've got asados and pizza ovens and all the fun things. Because California has nice weather most of the time.
And it's amazing, because I looked at I'm driving up here, or driving down here this morning, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. What's that in Celsius?
I want to say that's probably like 27, 25, 27. Yeah, so really nice.
Pleasant.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I missed, what's June?
June gloom.
June gloom. We're in July, the sun is shining. I actually thought it'd be a lot hotter, but I'm glad it's not.
Well, it's hotter where you're going, but it's nice here.
Into Memphis.
Yeah, you're going to some central
and
places.
Georgia's like really
Georgia gets
humid. Yeah, steamy. Okay, so this is, and there's fruit trees. We're looking at all sorts of things
veggies,
in front of us.
And then they have eggs, so not really any protein.
Yeah, not the animal meaty
component.
Protein stuff.
Not probably the land for it.
No. However, a couple of cows doing poo.
Wouldn't be so bad.
A few goats doing poo and wee. I think that's good, It's one of those things. But as soon as I got here, you could just sense you'd see, there's fruit still in the trees, there's people having a lovely time. We just had a delicious lunch.
Yep.
You had the corn
tortillas,
chips made out of the corn the purple corn from here.
Yeah, which they mill and turn into like tortillas, and then they fry. So,
amazing. Yeah. So thank you. What a perfect place to meet.
I know.
Yeah.
Great meeting grounds.
So let's get to, I want to get to your life, like day one.
Yep. When I was born.
Little Sarah, sort of a kid somewhere. But before we get to that, we're in the United States. You're from Tasmania.
Mm-hmm. Long way from home.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you mentioned Florida.
Yep.
And we last time we caught up was 2.5 years ago, or something.
Yeah, like a while ago.
Why America? Why America?
America. So I was living in Tasmania. Backstory: been a chef since I was 16. I just turned 40.
So when you say chef, trained
qualified chef since I was 16. I left school. I left school at year 10, and I just was not an academic person. I really enjoyed being creative with my hands. I loved entrepreneurship. I loved creativity. And I think that was just my dad is a Sparky. You know, he grew up like with trades, and so I think he was always such a big fan of us having a trade. We can always fall back on it if we need to. So they encouraged me to go to culinary school. So my best friend's mum was the head of the culinary school in Tasmania, which was a TAFE institute then. So there is a government-run facility. And I just started my journey then of like cooking and learning about business and like entrepreneurship and things that I loved. And actually at 16, after I'd finished my certificate in commercial cookery, I came to the US. So I actually worked on a kids' summer camp for 3 months in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia.
Age what?
I was 16.
So you did that there?
Yeah.
It didn't take long to do it then?
So I did my Cert 3 in commercial cookery at 16, and then I was working in a restaurant, and I took 3 months off, and then I travelled and I came back and finished my certification.
And you come over here for 3 months?
Yep.
At 16?
Yep.
Wow.
I know, my parents were like, I was like, how did you let me go at that age, Mum? And she's like, you just exuded confidence. She goes, I knew you would be fine. And this is before the day of internet and FaceTiming
Mobile
and all
phones.
the things. So, you know, I remember going to the payphone and like calling my mum and dad back home and just being like, I'm fine, guys. I'm alive. I'm living my best life in America. And I think for me, there was something about America, even at that age, where I felt very like accepted and alive. And like, I felt like I could be whoever I wanted to be. And there was like no judgment. And so, you know, in Australia, we have tall poppy, and I think that that's a real thing where it really does affect you and like your growth as a human. So fast forward all these years later, I was living in Tasmania. I'd actually had a cookie biscuit company. I'd had a cookie company.
In New York?
Yeah, Bondi Bickies. So
See, I've done my homework.
You've done your
I've got no notes, but I know it all anyway.
So I started a cookie company when the recession hit. I was actually working for Quicksilver at the time, so I was maybe 24 at this stage. So I'd worked in and out of restaurants. I'd also worked for Quicksilver. I'd worked for brands. I really enjoyed like design and you know, sales and all that kind of stuff. So it's amazing how like our life just kind of leads us to where, like, down the river where we're meant to be, and it all lines up. But the recession happened, and a friend opened a cafe, and I started baking things for her, which turned into a full-blown cookie business. So I used to wholesale and distribute cookies all over Australia.
So it started in Australia?
Started in Bondi Beach. Yep.
What was the name of it?
Bondi Bickies.
Bondi Bickies.
Yeah.
Are they still around?
I don't do it at the moment, but I still sit on the name. So maybe we need to talk to.
Oh yeah, no, I come from a long line of bakers.
I know you do, Charlie, on it.
And my daughter, not to overtake the story, but my daughter is, she's an amazing cook.
Oh,
she's fantastic. She just picks it up. She makes up her own recipes. She's doing bread. Mads is our governess is really helping her with just encouragement and helping her follow recipes. But yes,
sidetrack. Yeah, so I started my cookie company in Bondi. I think it was in 2000. I did that for like 8 years. I had a storefront in Bondi, wholesale and distributed all over Australia, and then I started dating a guy in New York, and his mum loved baking. So, long story short, that turned into her baking cookies in the US, selling them in the US, which turned into me eventually having a cafe, which all blew up in my face, probably like 8 years ago now, and it sent me back to Australia. So
how long?
I was only
in New York for?
Yeah, so I had travelled back and forth for 4 years from New York, like doing my cookies and dating this guy.
With the cafe in New York?
The cafe in New York was the last part of the journey, which was I was involved with some other people, business partners, and it just didn't go great. Business partnerships are one of those things that don't always fly the way you expect them to. So it took me back to Australia. I was in debt from it all, and I didn't really know what I was going to do. I took a sabbatical for 6 months and lived on the Gold Coast and just like chilled out, surfed, found myself again, and then I moved back to Tasmania to basically figure out if I was going to go bankrupt or if I was going to figure out how I was going to pay back this money that I owed. And thankfully I didn't have to go bankrupt. I found fire. So I worked in a restaurant that cooked over open fire. I was actually just waitressing at the time in Tassie, and I went back to school to get my certification in pastry because I always knew I wanted to teach people how to cook. I wanted to write cookbooks. And I thought, well, I'll use this time to kind of reset. And the kitchen cooked on open fire, and the chef at the time, I loved how he approached it. It was very much about the produce. It was how it was butchered or filleted. It was about the quality of the ingredients and the dairy. And being Tasmanian, there's just so much beautiful farmed produce there. The land is so rich, and it's small, it's an island, so it's easy to get around and find everything. So I started just experimenting. I didn't cook in the kitchen. I would just go out and I'd camp and I would cook and I would play around with recipe ideas. And a friend of mine who is a photographer followed me around, and this launched my first cookbook, which was called Wild Adventure. Publishers didn't understand the concept of shooting a whole cookbook outdoors on the fly, so we did a Kickstarter. And at the time, my brother got married in an old apple orchard in Tasmania because, it's such a big thing in Australia that people have spaces, there's a lot of farmland, there's a lot of people with, sheep farmers, cherry farmers, apple farm, whatever, and there's orchards and there's old barns. And so people will have weddings there. My brother got married in an old apple barn.
Whereabouts in Tasmania?
In Tasmania, in Huonville.
Oh, cool. Beautiful.
So all there was a little, picket for water and some electricity. And I was like, well, I guess we could dig a hole and light a fire. And my uncle, we all hunt. And so he had some kangaroo meat. We got given some lamb and some fish. And I was like, well, let's just figure this thing out. And so I came up with this concept of how I would, hang my meat and cook my meat. And it turned into somebody being like, could you do this for me? Which turned into me catering and starting the Wild Kitchen, which is my catering business. And I paid all my debt off, wrote my first cookbook, and that took me on this trajectory of sarahglover.com.au.
6 years ago?
Maybe seven or eight. So I've got 3 cookbooks now. One's a kids adventure cookbook, and then the latest one is about me exploring the USA. So in all of that, I think I had been I was like, I'm done with the US. I failed. This is not my dream anymore. And then I broke up with my boyfriend. And I was still in my little house in Tasmania looking out on the water, and I was like, I'm going to die a cat lady here unless I get out. So I was like, I need to get out of Tasmania. I felt like I'd become a big fish in a little pond in Australia, and I was like, I've kind of done everything I can do here for me personally. And America just seemed to feel right for me. So it was kind of when COVID had happened. I'd lost a lot of my business in catering. Everything was, taking a different turn in our lives. So I applied for a visa, and I got a special talent visa, and I moved to Florida.
An alien of extraordinary talent.
Yeah, basically.
That's what they call it, isn't it? Yeah, no, totally. I think it's a classic. They use that. And that was how many? 4 years ago?
3 years ago now. Yep.
So you moved over here. You moved to Florida.
I moved to Florida because, excuse me, I have some really good friends of mine, and the US was still very shut down because of COVID. So, excuse me.
Actually, isn't that interesting that in that period, so you actually applied for it in COVID?
Yep.
And they went, yeah, sure, we shut the whole country down, but you can come over here.
It really wasn't that easy. I had to write to the government, and I had to get permission to leave the country, and I basically had to sign a waiver that I was okay with not coming back.
Really?
Yeah. So that was a big step of faith for me, just to be like, YOLO.
You were driven though, clearly. What was telling you that was the right thing?
I don't know. I think I just I believe in a divine power. I believe in God. I believe in being led, and I just really felt like it was the right move for me. I just felt really peaceful and everything lined up. It doesn't mean it wasn't easy getting there, but it just seemed like the right moment in time for me to go and to also grow as a person and to grow as Sarah. And I'm not married, I don't have kids, I didn't have a lot of I'd paid my debt off, I'd had a small mortgage on my house, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna go, now's the time. I can always come back, well, supposedly, even though I said I signed away with saying I'd be okay with not coming back.
So when were you last back?
So I was actually just home in March. I renewed my visa again. They let me in. Well, obviously the borders are open now.
Wow. So are you going to, citizenship, residency?
No, I'm not. I'm really happy. I mean, I'm on my special talent visa. I don't know whether I'll stay here forever, but for now it feels right. I just applied for a new 3-year visa, so I can always go back to Australia if it's not right. I still have my house there and stuff, but there's been a lot of growth opportunities. Like, I think as a person and as a human, I feel like I am like a better human here. I really love how celebratory people are here of one another. They really, they're like, you're amazing. They get behind you and they like cheer you and champion you, which was a new experience for me coming from Australia. And I'm not saying that we don't do that in our culture, but it's different. There is that, there's that angst of like, I'm jealous, you're doing well. And I kind of like, I'm okay with it, but then I'm going to like not be okay with it. And I've experienced a lot of that in my life. And I think it's just because I'm a very big personality, and I carry and I can't, it's either shrink as a human and become less of myself or just push through that. And I'm not saying I have to be center of attention in a room or anything, far from it. But I think when you naturally exude a certain presence, that can be intimidating for some people.
Well, it's no doubt that the Australian culture probably does literally genetically breed that kind of thing. I don't know why that is though.
Yeah.
Because you're not the first. I mean, you're an Aussie, but I hear that from a lot of non-Australians. They go, wow, yeah, and they're looking at it from the outside.
Yeah.
Whether it's their own personal experience or just heard it on the grapevine, I don't know, but
it's sad. I wish that wasn't ingrained in our to be like that. And I think that being here has made me a more celebratory person, and it's actually helped me get rid of that within myself. And I think travel does that to you. I think the opportunity of being able to be in new culture and meet new people and immerse yourself in like different ways of life, like that's the beauty of travel, is that it calls you to a higher place, sink or swim.
I also think that it creates a bit of a filter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like you just stop hanging. Like you clearly have to leave the country to do that, but just not being around people who are with that attitude it's just like you can either put up with it, or you go, you know what? Thank you for helping me make a decision about where this relationship goes.
And you can't really like hold bitterness in your body towards that people or things. Like I think you need to be very mindful of. We're on still.
No, all good, yeah.
You need to be mindful of like how you're carrying yourself in that space as well, because it can affect, you, and like that's not a good thing. So there's like a challenge to like look within as well.
Yeah, it's what pain is I say it a lot because it's a bit of a cliche, but what is a cliche? It's an expression that's kind of relevant. Yes, overused for good reason, but there's no growth stimulant like pain.
Yeah.
The challenges are what sends us to America, or out of New York or whatever it happens to be, and they're the inflection points which we need to literally be challenged. Otherwise, we, comfort is not necessarily a good thing.
No.
Living in a
and I think for me, like some people love that, and I think I don't really judge people when they choose to be in that space. But like for me in my house, I was like, okay, it's so nice, it's so peaceful, it's so calm. I'm not growing as a person here, and I'm gonna literally just sit here and not do anything with my life. And I'm not that type of person. Like my great grandfather landed in Tasmania because he was a whaler. Like, I mean, we're adventurers. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's like in our blood to like go out
hunting.
Yeah.
Wow. So you don't like get the urge to go out in the boat and just like try and find some whales out there?
I mean, I'm not a whale, but that would not be right.
Well, not that we can talk about here.
Yeah. Well, interesting. I actually met a guy that from the National Geographic. He he was the filmmaker documentary guy for all the series on the whales and the orcas and stuff. So he was. I told him, I was like, he goes, you know what? I'm kind of thankful for those guys. They've given us so much. You know, the ability of what they had to like hunt these animals was like incredible. Like the knowledge that they had in how to find them without anything. So not saying that how they hunted them was necessarily right or humane, but you learn with the times.
But also
it's part of what it. We can't go back and right that wrong.
But I totally agree. And also, like, okay, back then they had to eat. They had to power. They had to, for a source of light. So the oil, they would burn in the streets. Lands and in their homes and that sort of thing. I mean, it was like a necessity in a way. It's like, wow, this is a massive resource, and they weren't thinking about the ecological implications and the consequences of that. They're just going, I need to eat.
But also, like, manpower. Like, it was all, like, there was no mechanics.
No, those little boats.
They took out a little boat and a harpoon.
And this massive thing. And so no wonder so many of them died. And, I go to, when I think of that, I got goosebumps. When I go to that sort of thing, I think about what our ancestors, our forebears, how many greats?
Great, yeah.
Yeah, many.
Yeah.
That was what they had to do to survive. That was their skill. That was their trade.
And he actually gave it up. He sold his boat because he fell in love with a girl in Tasmania and sold his boat, and that's how
where was he from? Where was he whaling?
England.
Oh, he was whaling over there.
Yeah. So he's from England, but he was whaling in Tasmania.
Yeah, but then he went,
and then he fell in love with a girl in Tasmania.
Fell in love with a land-loving girl.
Yeah.
And he put his harpoon on the wall.
Basically.
Wow. And then, that's what they had to do to survive, and that was normal, right? Like, I'm a whaler. I go and kill stuff and put my body on the line every day. Yeah, I do that. Like, and I think, try not to be too judgy, try to be discerning about generational stuff. And I think about today, and go, my God, we've got it so easy, and back to the challenges. Challenges have. We almost have to create challenges in our lives, and maybe subconsciously we do. Yeah. Because our subconscious knows. I had a great conversation with the porch the other day about souls. Yeah. Our souls kind of know where we're headed and what we're doing, and so to tap back in and go, no, you need to. I was listening to the one on the way up here today about getting to the back of the queue. Yeah. Like this guy's having dreams, and he's had this dream about having a shortcut to the front of the queue. And it's all very, Carl Jung, all that sort of stuff, and dreams and everything. He was going back, and then this old grey man said, no, there's no shortcuts. You have to go to the back of the queue, and that's the soul almost does that, or God, or however we want to frame that up is saying there are no shortcuts, there are no hacks. Yep, you got to go on the journey. You got to go on the journey. You got to get the pain to deflect you to the spot, and I trust that we have. And I think in that journey, like in that process, when you do, you actually attract people who are on similar paths or who have paid the price, and I feel like they then recognize something in you. Like I remember being on Gordon Ramsay's show, Uncharted. And it was in Tasmania. It was before I was even thinking of moving to America. And he goes to me, I finally met a female version of myself. And I was like, I'm not sure that's a good thing or a bad thing. Is that a compliment, Gordon?
Yeah, I'm like...
Rammer?
But I think he was just meaning in the sense of like, go-getter, like down the line, like got guts, like we'll just give it everything. And I met Martha as well, and a similar experience with her, and I think you recognize, and to me that's like an honor. Totally. Yeah, they paid a price to be where they're at.
They did, but I guess that was the investment they made in their life, in their career, knowing there was going to be pushback. Again, it wasn't the...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether they knew at the time. Like, you never know the challenges you're going to come up against, but I think that you either like take that and you run with it, or you regress, and that's just the choice you make in life.
Yeah, it's like the resolve. You resolve to go, look, I'm not sure where this is going to end up. But it feels, are you an intuitive? Do you feel intuition is kind of part of your
definitely
your faith, your intuition, your lighthouse?
Yes, and
and you're a chick, right? So you guys have got that covered. Us blokes
we've got a good little compass down there.
Because that muscle in us is like weak, I think, and then it does take, we're working to actually develop it. But yes,
no, I definitely think that I have like a deep knowing and an intuition and a sense, and then I think that sometimes I get it wrong. Put myself out there and fall back, or I've not done the research I've needed to do to I guess support myself. Like even when I came to America with my cookie business and had the bakery and things, the coffee shop space, though I got done the dirty on in that experience, I also could have set myself up for a win, and I didn't, because I rushed the process, and I was like, that's it, I'm in, I'm going, let's go. And I could have done certain things that contracts and different things that would have helped me not fall as hard as I fell. And that's just because there's that part of me that trips myself up, and I'm very fast. I'm like, yes, let's go. Yes, and that's a strength and it's a weakness.
But it's momentum too, isn't it? It's like if
But I think yes, there's momentum, but I think you also need to trust the process of when I put a boundary on myself that this is what I need, that it's okay if it doesn't happen. It just, boundaries are a big thing that I've learned. And it's not so much that you put them on other people, you put a boundary on yourself. Yeah.
So you're good at saying no?
No, I'm terrible.
Oh.
Yeah. Trying to get better.
Yeah, okay.
I mean,
do you wish you'd said no to this interview?
No, we're having a great old time. We've got some Timbits, stole a hat.
Got a bandana. So okay. Is that an example of your I want to go, we are so nowhere near day one of Sarah Glover, but that's fine. Tell me about it never goes to plan.
No.
Tell me about business.
Yep.
The business you got in, you don't have to give us all the detail and names or whatever, but in terms of what did you learn about that? Were there times you should have said no or yes when you didn't? Was there, I guess I'm looking for our listeners and viewers to understand a few Sarah Glover business tips. What did you learn at the time that you would not have done or you do differently and you would suggest?
I think so for those of you that don't know, obviously I'm a chef. I have a catering business called The Wild Kitchen. I have an Airbnb. I write cookbooks. I'm a brand ambassador for a lot of brands. I have a YouTube, all the things. So I have a very multi-stream kind of business, I guess, and it all channels into Sarah Glover.
.com. You don't put an E,
I do. Well, it's got an EU right now because I couldn't get the .com.
Is there another Sarah Glover?
No, well, I think there might be, but I think there's just someone holding the name. So if anyone knows, send it my way.
Did they just see you rising star and went, oh?
No, I think they just pick I don't know, whoever these random people names. Are, they just pick random things and then they just hold them so they can get lots of money.
And then you get to a point, or someone gets to the point and go, oh, okay, I'll give you $50K for that.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that ridiculous?
How rude.
That's so rude.
See, that is not, that for me is, unethical or whatever, but it's I don't know, is that karma's, I'm a big believer in karma.
Yeah.
Things catch up with you.
They do.
Business ethics.
Yep.
Back to you.
Back to me. Yeah, so when I took the leap to come to America, I don't think I really thought about the fact that I was actually starting a whole new business. I mean, I was known here in the US, but I never really thought about the fact that, hey, I am starting a whole new company in a new country. And I remember getting here and being like, all right, how do I generate money? And so I reached out to a few of my people I'd worked with in the past and some of my brand ambassadorships that I'd already had, and Yeti and Traeger and these things. And I was like, hey, I'm in the US. Does anyone want to work with me? And then I literally just waited for the phone to call. I was just like, all right, waiting for that email, waiting for that phone call. And then I slowly started to get momentum and build up that, side of my business here in the US. So it's taken a long time. I feel like I'm kind of just hitting this little bit of a trajectory right now of success. 3 years later.
Through hard work.
Oh,
And,
bloody hard
and
work.
reputation,
Yeah.
and being an example of
And then
someone
bloody
that,
good,
like,
tasty food.
and delicious, tasty food. And, you know, the whole thing, I just love the fact it's on fire. Can I look at your hands? They're not very calloused or
I mean, they don't look like they are right now. They're actually in pretty good shape, but I'm about to head out on the road and these things will be roughed up. But I can pick up something. I've got a few scars, but like, I feel like I definitely have asbestos hands. Like I can pick up things that you wouldn't be able to, for sure. Yeah.
So business tips. So back to one step. But you're an example of. I'm not surprised that you are brand ambassador and you have good relationships because you speak your truth and you are an example of what you do.
Yeah.
And cooking over a fucking fire.
It's hard.
Is hard work.
Yeah.
You're
so
sweating,
I specialize. I think like when I moved to the US, I definitely was in the trajectory of more doing like brand ambassadorships and photo shoots and recipe development. Whereas now I'm like focusing on the immersive cooking experiences. So like big live fire, immersive, artistic, creative cooking experiences out in the wild. So for Green Feast here, they have a big fundraising thing. I did fish on logs. So I did 12 massive yellowtail.
I saw.
Yeah. So which are like kingfish in Australia, but they call them yellowtail here. So they were like, you know, they were probably up to my waist. They're like 20 kilo, you know, yellowtail that I nailed to a log and lined them all up in a big long line, and everyone walked past it as they like went out to the field for their, you know.
It's theatre, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's what I love. I love that theatrical experience that people are like, whoa, like what is this? Like this is a whole animal and it's got eyes and it's got scales and, you know, it's nailed to a log, and how's that going to taste, and what that's, you know. And I ended up serving it with a goat's milk creme fraiche tartare. So there's a local guy here that has incredible goat's milk, and I made it was beautiful, like green creme fraiche tartare with the yellow tape. You pull the skin back and then you just get these beautiful juicy chunks of flesh, and then just serve them with a little bit of salt, lemon.
And it's education, right?
Yeah, it's education, because I think people, like, I just did a big photo shoot for Modern Huntsman.
Shut up.
Yeah, which is a big hunting magazine here in the US, and they're launching a cookbook next in 2025. I was one of the feature chefs, and they were like, well, what do you want to cook? What recipes? And I was like, well, I want to do whole animal. Jesus. I was like, I want to do a whole animal. So we went and hunted all of the animals that I cooked. So we did wild pig.
That's great.
Yeah, we did axis deer. We did quail and pheasant. And then I also had foraged like some Nepal has like cactus pads, and I hung them all, and there was all these oranges we found on the road.
And where was this?
So we hunted everything in West Texas with my friend Josh, who has Spoke Hollow Outfitters. And then the whole photo shoot was done in Joshua Tree at a ranch out there.
Shut up.
It was a massive production. But it turned out fantastic. And I also built all of the apparatuses that we nailed all the animals to. So we harvested all the wood that I made the Asado crosses out of, and we found actually an old chuck wagon, like a horse brace that I hung the deer from. And I really wanted people to connect with the animals, so I'd like left the face on and the hoofs on, and like it was very like confrontational.
But those guys, the guys and gals who went, they would have kind of expected that, though, right? Or were they going, oh my God?
It was photographed for the cookbook, and then we also did a big video piece on it as well, so that will come out in 2020.
But there was it was a proper event. Like,
no, so it was just a photo shoot, and then we invited some local people to come and join and eat all the food.
To get the crowd vibe?
It wasn't so much about the crowd. It was about shooting the recipes in like a very like, you know, unique way.
So when are we going to see the Sarah Glover fire apparatus? Is that a thing?
Me produce a product range.
Yeah, like you have a cage or some apparatus
Charlie.
that you hang.
Maybe we need to go into business together.
No, I'm not. No, that's not. I'm not. Well, yes, that'd be lovely, but no, that's not the thing. It's like that feels to me like a
natural progression.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, that might be too much, but what I love is when we get interrupted by a fire truck.
Yep. Welcome to California.
Is that a kitchen?
I don't know.
A kitchen fire. Hopefully not a bushfire. So, no, I saw the other day, and I cannot remember where it was. Maybe it was you. Was there someone had found some harrow leaves, right? So they're about a metre high and 3/4 metre wide, and they're diamond harrows, is what they're called in Australia at least, and they've got spikes that come out the bottom, and you drive around and they just harrow stuff, and they just put them on their end. And they had strapped, I don't know what was, I can't remember what to it.
That's cool.
Was it? Yeah. It was.
No, it wasn't me.
It was just the same thing, use of farm stuff that's lying around that's iron that can handle the heat and is somewhat of a frame to cook meat on.
I'm just always say to people, as long as it doesn't fall in the fire.
Use it. While we're on that, is there a favourite meat you like to cook?
I get people ask me all the time, they're like, what's your favourite recipe? And I'm like, that
was my next question. I won't answer it.
Don't answer the question. My favourite meat, I don't really have a favourite protein. I think that, like, everything I enjoy for different reasons. So I love cow because it's, like, can be very fatty, and you can cook it for a long time and like the flavor's unique, but then I really enjoy the challenge of cooking wild game because it's so lean and you have to be really like knowledgeable in how you're going to cook it so it doesn't dry out and like not have any flavor. So anything obviously with more fat is always going to be easier. The flavor is going to be richer. And it is going to break down on the fire better than like, you don't need to be as sort of technical with it. And I really enjoy seafood. Seafood's fun to cook on the fire as well, like lobsters and like whole fish and
What, are there kangaroos here?
No.
There's no wallabies? No, but aren't there some wild somewhere?
No.
Someone said, I was watching someone the other day.
Not unless someone brought them over in their suitcase.
Oh, no, it was Sean Baker, the carnivore doctor up in Seattle, and he said, I just saw something that looked like a kangaroo on the side of the road.
Oh, no. Yeah. Maybe like a
wallaby or something.
No,
so
ever, no.
Oh, okay. I might be thinking New Zealand. I know there's kangaroos over there.
Really?
Wouldn't that be cool? Can you get kangaroo over here?
No.
Now, you get your meat from someone over here.
So there's a producer, I think Culinary, and they kind of go under Herd and Grace. They actually have imported meat from Australia, so all of the Cape Grim, Bass Strait, Black Angus, Black Opal beef, so that's cool.
And you tap into them? Yeah,
I do, because it's really I really love the quality of Australian beef, and then it's also really nice to be able to, I sort of say to people, it's so lovely to be able to bring a part of you to the table. So something from your home country. They import Tasmanian sea salt and all that sort of stuff. So it's I mean, obviously I'm here. I want to tap into like the produce that's available here and not just be like, I only use Australian. Well, why not stay in Australia? Like, don't be a knob. But it's nice to be able to be like, do you want to try something from my home country? And being like, here is something. And they also do lamb as well. So that's, I hate American lamb. It tastes like shit.
Yeah, is that right?
Very laminally, like very strong game flavour.
Over the top.
Yeah.
This episode of the Regenerative Journey is brought to you by Terra Firma. Cooking over fire is about food, nature and bringing people together. It's about the connection from the land to the plate. Terra Grills has been designed by the renowned chef and pitmaster Charlie from Terra Firma Dining to create the ultimate open fire cooking setup and turn your backyard barbecue into a complete open fire outdoor kitchen. From hanging, grilling and smoking, Charlie's open fire barbecue can be set up to cook a whole beast. He has everything you need to cook beautifully and live well outdoors, and I can definitely vouch for that, having been to a number of Charlie's events and seen how he cooks and the taste of the food, absolutely incredible. Do not miss the opportunity to get to one of his events. And right now you can get 10% off with the code FIRE10 at terragrills.com. That's terragrills.com. Bring the fire home. Oh, we have to take it back to day one. We're already 40 minutes in and we haven't even touched on day one. That's not to say this is going to turn into a three-hour episode, by the way, but let's go. You've given us a really good
overview. Now for a bit of detail. No, day one, Sarah Glover turned up in Tassie. So actually my parents, born and raised Tasmanians, but they moved from Tasmania when my mum was pregnant with me in a little red postie van. They drove up to Gladstone. I was actually born in Gladstone. They lived there 9 months, then packed the postie van up and moved back to Tasmania. So pretty much born and raised, but my birth certificate says Queensland.
So you're a cane toad. Really? On the state of origin side? Yeah, go Maroons. You've got quite a few siblings, brothers and sisters, yeah?
5 brothers and 2 sisters. Mm-hmm. Big family.
And where do you appear in the lineup?
Second oldest.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
And there's a brother or a sister older than you?
Brother. Okay. Benaya. Yep.
Yeah. And how do you know, given your life and understanding and experience with your siblings, do you fall into an atypical kind of bracket in that lineup, like number 2 of 7 or 8?
8.
8. Is that, do you go, oh yeah, I'm number 2 and this is what I'm like, or are you all so different?
We are all so different. I mean, I think it is natural that there is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever.
There's dynamics.
There's dynamics for sure, but I was obviously big sister to my little sisters. My mum had started having more kids when I was 11. Same parents, married 40 plus years, 45 years or something. So I think naturally you turn into like, I'm going to help and I'm going to do things and I'm going to, rise into that space. But we're very much all best friends and like get along really well and respect one another and where we're at in our journey of life. So.
And are any of them over here?
No, most of them are all in Tasmania except for my 2 youngest brothers. One lives in Western Australia studying art history, and then the youngest, Tobias, lives in Melbourne. He's doing fashion at the moment.
Yeah, cool. So back to Tassie, grew up on a farm. What was the situation
No,
there?
not a farm, sadly. That would have been great. So my parents lived in Lauderdale, so in a little beach house, and then they sold that and moved to New Zealand. We lived on Great Barrier Island for a year when I was like 9. They did a course over there. They were sort of, OG hippies, like trying to work on themselves and their journey and their marriage. And we went to a Maori school and, they sold everything and were like, let's send it. And then they just felt like they were going to go to Canada and decided that they needed to come back to Tasmania and keep, working through their stuff. So they moved back to Tassie, and that's when they had more kids. And that's how we ended up in Kingston, which is down the channel.
Kingston?
Yeah, so it kind of goes Hobart, and then you go down the southern outlet to Kingston, Blackburns Bay, and they built a house there.
Yeah, cool.
And that's where they still live.
And school?
Homeschooled.
Good for you.
Yeah. Can you tell?
No, I love it. My daughter Lila.
I mean, it's cool now. Back then it wasn't cool. People were like, oh, you're homeschooled. Yeah.
Why not? What are you hiding? What was the
I think it was very much related to like religious control too.
Oh, they reckon all those.
Yeah, a lot of people like weirdo homeschoolers, But now it's like trendy.
All siblings doing it?
So we went to school. So the reason we homeschooled was my parents had us in school. They wanted to hold me and my brother back a year because we weren't doing so well academically. And they were like, well, you guys mustn't be doing your job properly. So they pulled us out and homeschooled us. And then obviously when they had more kids, they decided that they would continue homeschooling. But my mum had helped. So there was one lady who they were actually pastors of the church that my parents go to, and his wife is like super smart. They'd run a university before, and she offered to tutor us. So we would ride our bike down to her house, do the curriculum, and she would oversee it. And while my mum was having all the babies, and then just slowly, yeah.
Do you think your homeschooling, I mean, definitely, you know, if you hadn't, I'm sure there'd be a different trajectory and God knows what, but what were some of the, I don't know, the benefits or the things that was set up in you as a character, as a person
from homeschooling?
That you think homeschooling kind of brought to you?
At the time, I sort of did it kicking and screaming. I didn't really want to homeschool. I was a very social person, so I kind of enjoyed being around people. But now I look back and I think, so we had to get our schoolwork done for the day, but once it was done, we were free. And so it gave us a lot of time as kids to like go run in the bush and like go pick blackberries and try and sell them to the neighbors. And so it gave us a lot of autonomy and a lot of freedom. Also taught us a lot about like responsibility and like setting yourself goals and sticking to them and achieving things. So I think it suited my personality really well. I think homeschooling keeps you innocent as well for a period of time. Like I was just hanging out with my brothers and surfing, and we had friends. I was actually a lot of people like, what about your social side? We were involved in a church, and then also I was part of a kids choir, like a community choir. So I used to travel with the community. That community choir took me all over Australia to different Indigenous communities, and like, I mean, I was fine, you know. I was like, I'd make friends with anybody. Like, I loved like people, and that was not an issue for me. It was actually probably the opposite of like, she's too involved with people. She needs to focus on doing some schoolwork.
Focus.
And also just for me, I'm like, I've got a little bit of ADHD, a little bit of dyslexia. Like I didn't fit into the system, and that's the problem. I think that. I mean, look, I'm in this mindset of like, is ADHD really a thing? Because I feel like there's so many people with it nowadays. Like maybe it's just another human, another type of person, that how they learn and like, you know, how they absorb, and we just, not one shoe fits all, you know. And so I think that's what homeschool allows, is that ability for you not to fit into like having to perform and having to like, measure up to some person's standard of like, this is what it is that you have to be an academic.
I feel that Lila's homeschooling is the second year. She is, I have to say, amazing. I'm a little biased, but she's 13. She's going on 14 in a couple of days' time. That's probably going to Memphis so she can have a birthday at Gracelands. And so she cooks and she makes scarves, she looms, she knits, she's made a dress she's wearing on a birthday. Yeah. She, like all those lovely, crafty, hands-on skills.
Yeah, I think they're awesome.
Just exploding, blossoming.
Yeah, and I think that like what is learning, like my mum, you know, for me, I loved cooking and I loved baking, and she's like, well, I guess that's maths. Like you got to figure out how to measure things and duplicate things and times things. And she's like, that looks like a good maths lesson to me. You can learn all these skills in different ways. Like it doesn't have to be, here's a book, you know, 2 + 2 = 4. Like you could do 2 leaves and, you know, 2 file, you know, like you can learn in different ways. And if your daughter's like learning through reading a, you know, recipe, or learning how to cut out a pattern and sew that together, like that's still a skill. And ultimately school is setting you up to be a good adult. So I think there's so much supposed to, right? I think there's so much emphasis on like, you know, the written stuff. We're losing what it means to actually just be a good freaking human.
My stepdaughter, Persia, she went to a Steiner school some years ago, and Lila did Steiner.
Yeah.
And when we were interviewing, they were interviewing us really for the position at Byron Bay, one of the Steiner schools up there. I asked the headmaster or the principal, whatever you're supposed to call them nowadays. I said, tell me about Steiner schools versus conventional. He said, well, look, the easiest way to explain it is in a conventional school, they basically just fill you up with knowledge.
Yeah.
You're a cup, you're a vessel, and they're pouring stuff in.
Yeah.
Right? And it's just like learn,
yeah.
try and hold it all. At a Steiner school, and look, you know, probably it's quite sort of parallels a homeschooling scenario too, is the building the vessel.
Yeah. That's a good way to think about it.
That you can put anything in and they'll kind of not necessarily retain it, but they'll know how to deal with it. They'll know how to manage the challenges, the things, and it's not like
and the shaping of the vessel too. You know, like
totally.
It's such a I love children, and like I wrote a kids cookbook on. The kids is an adventure cookbook, and the whole concept around the book was that, each chapter was a different adventure you could go on. And it's like, let's be pirates and let's build a raft and let's use our imagination and like go on an adventure. Like we've lost that in our society of like actually creating out of nature and like how to light a fire and how to cook a fish straight on the coals, or you could stab it with a stick. Like how to see nature as a different resource other than just like a pretty garden to look at. Allowing kids to be kids. And like my mum was very good at that. Like she just opened the front door and we would just like run out and play. So I'm thankful for, for her recognizing in me, oh, Sarah doesn't fit in this. Okay, that's fine. Like she never put me, like I never felt bad that I couldn't spell and read very well. I never felt any of that pressure to perform in that space. If anything, it was probably more of a external pressure that I felt. But I'm thankful that my mum definitely was just like, go shine somewhere else.
Why was it important to write that book about kids? And you didn't have any kids.
Yep.
So.
And I still don't have kids.
You still don't have kids. Yeah. So like that's really interesting that. For whatever reason you want, this is an important thing to do.
Yeah, I think that I love kids, and I think I recognize so much of myself in them. And for me, I really care about, nurturing that innocence that they have. And I guess for myself, it's like, nurturing yourself, nurturing your innocence. And so I wanted to give children and parents something to visually look at and be inspired to continue to nurture that. So I'm a big believer in giving back to that generation. I mean, I had a lot of people that sewed into me as a young woman, and I'm thankful for that, and I want to be someone that does that for others as well. And you don't have to have your own biological children to do that. I mean, I hope one day I can, but for now, I'm like definitely not letting that stop me.
Did that let you be a kid again in a way? Like you were creating your, choose
I mean,
your
I'm
adventure.
just a giant kid anyway.
Yeah,
like
okay.
everything I do is just like a big adventure.
Yeah, but that you gave your license to like officially go.
It does, and like what kids kind of come up with and the way they process and think and change and move, like it helps you stay in that space as well.
My boy and Lillo's 13 and a half, so she's kind of out of the cuddle sort of rumbling zone. But Lordia, who's 6, sometimes I stop and go, oh my God, I'm so immature sometimes.
Yeah.
Like in a way, it's like what comes out of my mouth and what we say and the games we play is like, oh my God. But then I think, because I feel like I'm 6 again.
Yeah.
But then there's the kind of the realisation is like, that's actually a really healthy thing.
Yeah.
Like we don't get too grown up, do we?
No.
That'd suck.
Yeah. No, it sucks. And I don't think just because you're getting older doesn't, like, age-wise, I think we should forever stay young in our, like, play.
We have to play.
Yeah.
Lilla's name is playful in Sanskrit, and that's one of the things that it was important for us, and it's something that we, on our farm mission vision, is like we have fun. Like the last thing on the list of things is like we have fun. And it's not always fun, but... because sometimes
it should be though, but like at the same time, like you can overcome things and do things and be like, okay, that was fun. Like I achieved something. Like there's a sense of joy you get from that.
And and it's like the lessons you learn. Like something can be, getting back to our discussions earlier about challenges. Like it's only a mistake if you do it twice.
Yeah.
Like it's everything should be a learning experience. Oh, now talking about learning, I want to go. I know going all over the place. I want to get back to, because there's a gap we haven't quite worked out from like. Back to Tassie, school, but before we go there, so between there and 16 when you started doing your chefing and so on, but before we go there, I want to get back to business tips.
Yes.
We sort of touched on it, then then I don't know where it went. We went. So what did you learn? And you don't have to reference, as I said, specifics about the business in New York, but like with the things that you went, I wouldn't have done that again. I would have done this. I would have done, I don't know, more research. Like, I'd love to know so that we learn from your challenges.
I think one thing for me was I was probably a little afraid to be vulnerable, and I was afraid to kind of have people help me, and so I kind of kept a lot in, and in doing that, I guess I never really knew whether I was being successful or not, because I didn't really know. And I'm talking probably more in like a financial space of like how to run your books and like how to pay things properly, and like, do you have contracts? Like I kind of fumbled my way through that a little bit. And I think that was the only downfall of like my journey, was perhaps having a business mentor help me a little bit more would have been really awesome. I obviously had it in me to like make money and a business, and you're making money, you can pay your bills. So I was able to do that. But I think I could have had a little bit more help in how to like grow and scale what it was that I was doing, like particularly with Bondi Beers. But I didn't know where to find that. So my dad was like, had his own business his whole life, but he was a sucky, like it wasn't, we're not talking someone that was wholesale distributing a product. I could have gone on, like, gotten my cookies on Qantas. Like I could have done all these amazing things. I didn't really know where to go and find help.
But you're the creator, right?
Yeah. And I think you have to be careful with that, because I became very personally attached to product. And so it became hard for me to like help. Are you good?
Yeah, all good.
All right. It became hard for me to let go of pieces of the pie, because I was a little afraid to have people step in and give me a hand, maybe a little type A.
So but I mean that's often the thing with a creator, or the person who's the creative, is like, that's not necessarily a skill set they're going to have, and they not that they always covet things, but like that's the passion, that's the drive, the create. I
really needed I needed someone to manage that, and mentor it, and like come alongside and help more. But I didn't really know where to find that either. Like I didn't know who would give me advice that I'm doing well or not. Like. Yeah.
And so were there other things that, again, without all the details, specifics that you would have done differently? Mentoring. I mean, that's that old cliche that Tiger Woods, who's the best golfer in the world at his peak, he still had a coach.
Yeah.
Tennis, but you pick a sport, Yeah. I mean, and business coaching is not a rare thing, of course. But was there anything else that, do you think you were naive about some things?
I was very naive. I mean, I was just like,
Were you like over trusting, do you think? I mean, not of it, but like your personality was like, yeah, of course everyone thinks that they're generous and they're whatever else. I think
you're always like, you expect the best of humans for each other. And I was probably a little naive, like when it came to the business in New York, and sort of getting dealt the short end of the stick in that situation. But I could have put something in place, like a contract, or like I said, I could have had a lawyer help me write something up between us, which I've learned from and now do, and am way better off because of it. And I don't think it's like it's not because you don't trust another person or not. It's just literally like, this is actually protecting you and your assets and your time, and also them as well. Like it's very clear, like this is the boundary and this is how we're going to do business together, versus just being like, she'll be right,
Yeah. I mean, it's just smart, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely smart. And just slowing down, like just because someone offers you the moon, doesn't mean you have to jump to take it straight away. Like if it's the right thing, it will still be there in 6 months' time.
Let's go back to Tassie, and not living on a farm, but you were homeschooling, navigating the world, large family. What was between that and kind of 16 and getting to that point of going year 10, man, this is not for me? Was there any sort of significant events in that period of time?
I don't remember any significant events. I just remember not loving school and having an opportunity not to do it. And so I took that opportunity.
And why cooking, though? Like, you could have done anything, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I just gravitated to the kitchen. My best friend's mum was the head of Drysdale. I think my parents were like I said, my dad was big on having some sort of trade. So that's what, opened up for me. And I think cooking made sense. I'm very tactile. So, I enjoyed eating and I enjoyed flavor and I enjoyed the whole process of building something. But I equally, I didn't like being behind, the closed doors of a restaurant, and I missed having interactions with people. And so I struggled with that dynamic of I love creating, but I don't like just doing life by myself in a kitchen.
You're a very personable kind of person. Yeah, so that could be...
Well, I bounce off other people's energies and things. So, for me now when I create on a big scale, I work best if I come into a space and I'll be like, oh, this is what I feel, or, I think that we should put it here, or this is someone will be like, this is where we're going to put you. And I'm like, no, we should be over there. And let me set it up here. And this is how it is. And because they think this and I think this. So, I just work so much better in the moment and in the space. And so going to culinary school gave me a lot of mise en place. It gave me the basic backbone of what I needed to know to be able to create. It's like any good artist, right? I would say I'm more of an artist than I definitely am not world-class Michelin star chef. I can cook good food and it tastes bloody delicious. But for me, I get a kick out of seeing someone immersed in some crazy experience that they're just well, that changed my life.
Well, you're a performer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But and authentically, and again, it's all about education, and you're in the zone, they get in the zone via their taste buds, via the smells,
and everyone takes from what they want. Some people take more than another.
Yeah.
But either way, they leave impacted, and that's what's important.
So we covered that, haven't we?
Yeah.
16... flew the coop, kind of thing.
Yep.
Tell me about politics over here. Can we talk about politics?
Yeah.
I just obviously a fly on the wall, just watching.
See, I don't really pay that much attention to it. My dad calls me up and is like, you need to have an exit plan, and I'm like, why? It's great.
What does he think's going to happen?
My dad's end of the world kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what events might precipitate that?
I think there's just a lot of civil unrest in general, with obviously the current president's, which is Joe Biden. What do you think about Sleepy Joe? I think Stevie Joe. Sleepy Joe.
Stevie. His new name is Stevie Joe.
Stevie Joe.
Sleepy Joe. Sleepy Joe.
You mean old Biden. Mate? Pardon?
No, Sleepy Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe.
Oh yeah, Sleepy Joe.
To call him Sleepy.
Oh, I don't know. See, I don't really even know his nickname.
Yeah.
I don't agree with anything he's done, but that's me personally.
He can't even talk.
I know. And just he's caused so much disruption to the economy. And look, I know people don't like Trump, and I'm not saying I'm a full Trump supporter, but he did some great stuff for the economy. It was booming, and that's what's gone down the most since Joey's jumped in, and it's become all about just, I don't know, soft stuff that's I'm I need someone that's we're going to lead the country and make sure we've got an economy and a future, and it's protected, and there's justice, and
Are you across Robert Kennedy Jr.'s stuff?
I'm not really, but I know a lot of people that are, and they're big fans of his what he's doing. Yeah, I think he's probably the pick.
I reckon he's the pick. Not that I get a chance to vote or put that in stone.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not terribly important to me, but I'm here.
I'm working in the economy. I pay taxes, so
Do you have to vote? You don't have to vote here, do you?
I can't vote. I'm not a citizen.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
So okay. So you can't make your mark.
No.
But it will be interesting to see, I think. And look, what repercussions that has for Australia, I don't know, but gee whiz, like...
I mean, everything will affect everywhere because America is America, and I think America is a great country. I just hope that we can get rid of some of this, people-pleasing mentality of things and actually do what's right and good.
I hope so. I don't even know what the election is.
No, I think it's coming up.
Is it the end of the year?
Yeah, end of the year.
That debate was a bit of a train wreck. I didn't even watch it.
No,
I just saw bits of it, and it was like both of them bickering about who can play better golf.
Oh, was it Trump and
Biden? This is the two of them, and Robert Kennedy Jr. didn't even get a look in, because he's a legitimate.
Well, I feel it's sad because he's kind of been censored, which sucks.
Totally,
massively censored.
He's the only president since I'm not even sure which president it was in his term of office. So we're going back decades. Every presidential candidate from that point on, so we're talking tens and tens of years, had FBI or they had security, security. What do you call it? Issue, whatever. When they were a candidate, and he's the only one ever not to have been granted that. It's like, oh no, we're happy for him to get shot like his uncle and his dad. It's like, really? And then what? It just screams like, is that not? Are people not going, that's fucked up?
I mean, I think everyone's just censored, which sucks. I don't even watch the news.
And
it's
it feels
just a load of bollocks.
Yeah, and it feels like everyone's desensitized to it all. It's like, oh, that's normal. That's
another day in paradise. Yeah, they've definitely desensitized people from actually being alarmed by shit that's coming out of people's mouths.
What about
and then the whole it's a kind of a classic thing of just people coming in across the border in droves. And, Trump was stopping that from happening. And it's not that people can't get... The thing is that what the media portrays, because a church community that I'm a part of, we actually have a refugee camp in Tijuana that helps hold people until they get their appointment with the embassy to come in. So it's... And then the cartel is a big issue because they're smuggling people across and then they're taking their money. And so it's this big vicious cycle. But, I guess with people see Trump as he put a wall up, what an asshole. But it's actually it was important because the cartel is smuggling people in and pillaging people, and then people can get into the US. They just have to wait for their appointment.
Do it officially.
To do it officially to get in. So then people are getting smuggled across. They only then have 2 weeks to get their paperwork before they're deported back again. So it's this horrible cycle that, is happening, and it's not because we don't want people, genuine, legitimate people that need asylum in our country to be here.
But it's
but there should be a system and a protocol, just like there was for me to get in.
Yeah, totally. And it feels like the whole woke movement of everyone, even if you're not American and you're a foreigner or whatever the definition of that might be, that we shouldn't be putting boundaries up for people, and everyone should be treated equally. It's
but then they're not. That's the thing. You can put the woke movement up, but we're not treated equally because people that want to have an opinion on things or hold their own personal space aren't allowed to. So everyone's being censored and to fit into a movement that really is not all inclusive, and that is sad to see. Yeah.
Okay, enough of politics. Let's get to... I'm fascinated because I love what you do with your brand partnerships and that sort of thing. It feels like a really genuine kind of... You obviously love the brands you work with, and they're all relevant. You're not brand thing for, I don't know.
Tim Tams.
You should be, though.
I should
be. We should talk. Actually, we don't have anything to do with them anymore, unfortunately. Sold 1997, 1990, hang on, I'll get this right, 1997, Campbell Soups bought them all. Public company, bought all the shares. My grandfather had in some ways, thankfully, departed a few months before, but he would have seen all that going on. A whole other story.
So I can't be an ambassador for Tim Tams.
No, well, you could be, but no, I don't have any you pull it, or you'd have to do it totally on your own merit there. But that's not a bad idea though.
Yeah.
In America, because some people know about
I
them.
love the Tim Tams. I think they're a great biscuit.
They are. And Kim Kardashian apparently likes them. I hardly even know who she is.
I thought she was vegan.
Yeah,
They're not vegan.
Chocolate?
There's milk in them.
Is there milk?
There's typically milk in them. Anyway.
Maybe there's a vegan version. She goes, it's gluten-free or something. Where was I? So Land Rover? Because you bought Land Rover?
Yeah, so I'm not an ambassador for Land Rover, though I should be. So if anyone's watching
How
on this that
rude.
works for Land Rover, hurry up.
But you bang on about it that much I thought you were, because
No.
you're just a general
I just
lover of them.
own my Land Rover Defender, Harriet, who's actually in the parking lot right now.
And you Harriet, and you bought her from
Australia.
Yeah.
Yep.
How'd you manage that? And like that I would have thought, given knowing that that's what you did, I thought, of course, this is the relationship, and they're going, yeah, bring it over here.
No, so I just brought her over because she's fully kitted out. I put my trailer, all my fire pits, everything, and just shipped it over. I thought it would be a great idea. So it's on a temporal import. She does need to go back at some point.
Really?
Yeah, unfortunately.
What if she gets stolen somehow and she just disappears?
Shit.
And then is a different colour.
She's now bright red. Very.
Yeah, that's awesome. So so that's a member of your family.
So from my family, brought her across. And I work with an ambassador for Dometic, which they do. They're actually the person that invented the refrigerator.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they're out of Sweden, but they make portable like coolers.
How do you spell that?
Dometic, DOMECT, I think it is. TIC. TIC. Dometic.
Oh, TIC.
Jeez, I just told you I don't know how to spell.
No, homeschooling, that's what. Dometic, yeah, cool. So you're working with them?
Work with Dometic, and I work with Terra Grills. I work with a brand called Brio.
Hang on, I got to write these down.
Terra, Brio, they do like big open fire pits that you can cook on. Handmade out of Lancaster, so Amish family started it.
The Brillo?
Brio, BREOO. BREEO, my bad.
Brio. BREEO.
Yeah.
Cool. And can you get that in Australia?
You can't get Brios in Australia,
Why
which
not?
is a bugger because they don't import them yet, but one day. Work with Bare Bones. You can get Bare Bone grills in Australia. And a bunch of different brands here and there, but mostly brands. I work with brands that like I don't have a product, but I want to like help you
Totally
have a better experience in the outdoors. So I'll work with brands and I'll be like, here's a great brand you could use.
Yeah, and that makes sense. Stick to your
Yep.
So what I said before about your fire stuff, just forget that.
Yeah.
Forget I said. I'm going to edit that bit out. First time I edit anything out. No, that's awesome. So they're obviously relating to you. You use them. You are a genuine supporter. What makes a good brand ambassador? This is a loaded question.
I don't
What makes a
know.
good brand
Shit.
ambassador?
I mean, I think it's someone that like embodies the brand, like that genuinely. For me personally, I think it's someone that genuinely is living a lifestyle of what that brand is trying to like emanate. Whether you're a surfer and you're a surfboard brand or wear a clothing brand or whatever, I think any person that I guess has a following in that space makes a good ambassador.
Yep. Any others that my pen's run out of ink? Have you got any other? You've got a pen?
No, I might do.
Are you a brand ambassador for a pen?
No.
Biro?
Should be.
A feather?
I like
with
writing
ink in it?
everything.
Oh no.
You need a pen?
No, it's all good. What's in there, by the way?
In my bag?
In your jar.
Oh, it's a strawberry horchata.
What is that?
It's like it's a strawberry.
Not kombucha.
No, it's strawberry matcha tea. Not
really?
not matcha. Jesus, what is it? It's like the South American mata.
Oh,
Like
right.
a tea, mata tea.
Yeah, yummy.
So yummy.
And you make it at home? Mm-mm. You got it from here? Oh, yeah, cool. What other questions? Oh, tell me about hunting. I just love the fact that I just love it, but also I think I really support the whole idea of, and you referenced it some time ago in the interview, that, you source in that particular promo you did, you got the quail, you got the whatever else it was, deer.
So we got deer,
you got all
quail, pheasant, and then pig, wild
and
pig.
you went out and got it.
Yep.
Right, and that is like seriously.
That took a lot of effort.
Yeah, but I think it's just. I mean, for want of a better word, the right thing to do, though. Like in terms of reverence for the animal.
Yep.
The fact that it's providing protein, it's providing experience, it's part of the educational loop that
yep.
you are sort of pivotal to. Did you say when Tassie you were hunting? Is that kind of a thing?
Yeah, so I grew up. My uncle has a farm in Tasmania on the east coast, and he is a merino wool sheep farmer.
Yep.
And so
Cool.
As a kid, we just grew up going to stay in the shearers' quarters. And we would hunt on the land. So I had my miner's permit, and I would go and use my dad's 22, and we would get wallaby and rabbit. And I remember I killed my first rabbit, and I was like, all right. And my uncle was like, well, you killed it. You got to gut it. And I just remember that experience of being like, cutting it down the back, like down its, you open it up through the center, and then feeling like getting the guts and pulling it out, and I was like, it's warm. It's such a confronting experience to, it's not like you're at the butcher and it's cold. It was warm, and then I had to like skin it, and then I took it and I made a stew with it, I think. And then my dad, we would go diving for he loved diving, so we would dive for like crayfish, and my uncle's a crayfisherman down there, and abalone and all. So that's what I grew up doing as a kid, because we didn't really have a lot of money, and so our holidays consisted of like going up the East Coast and fishing and hunting and cooking.
And how important was that, putting aside even kind of what you then did and you do it now, like how important that in terms of a child and experience? I think as a kid I didn't really love it. I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is what we do. And I enjoyed it to a degree, but I wasn't like, oh, I'm like living to hunt. I think that it was just what we did as a family vacation. And it wasn't until I was older, when I really started following my chefing career and stuff, that I was like, wow, this actually, I'm so thankful for that experience, because it impacted me at a young age in a way that I never knew would actually influence me as an older human. So I look back at that and I was like, wow, my uncle did me a favor. And oh wow, like my parents didn't have money, but they still chose to take us away. And I never remember growing up feeling like we were poor or we had less. It's just that was what you did. That was the resource we had, and that's what you did. Like you stayed at a friend's shack and you went and swam out on the beach, and you would, get pippies, and it's sort of just what you did. And it's not until you're older and then you live in a different world and climate that you're like, oh, I was really given something really beautiful. That was normal, right?
It was normal, and that's what you did in Tassie, and also like I said, travel wasn't a big thing like it is now. And now I'm like, cool, I'm glad I have those skills, those survival skills, because it's aided me now to be able to, and also just like having that kind of like tenacity and can do when my mates are like, let's go spearfishing off Catalina, and I'm like, all right, I'll jump on the boat. Like I know I've got sea legs, let's jump in the water and dive. Like I've been in cold water, dark, cold, murky water, and I also I grew up hunting with somebody else, and I grew up with my dad and my brothers, so it's very normal for me to lean into somebody helping me in that space. So I think that was nice.
But there wouldn't be many chefs in Australia or here, I don't know, I haven't done the survey or the audit, that would actually go out and hunt.
There's definitely more learning now. I definitely follow a bunch of crew that do hunt and forage and gather now. It's become a little trendy to do that, which isn't a bad thing by any means. Like great. You know, I'm glad more people are aware of that and where their food is coming from and how hard it is to like harvest and skin and kill things. You can't commercially, like I can't commercially go and get a fish and then serve it to a paying patron. I'm not allowed to do that, but I do it for my own personal recreational things. But you can forage, like so vegetables and stuff.
Who's the guy, and there's probably a few of them in the States, really big on that. He's got a TV show and he does a lot of hunting. I think it's all mainly on land. Do you follow anyone in the States who does that? I don't. Someone referenced
Bear Grylls.
Bear Grylls. No, not him. But he's
crazy.
He's kind of crazy. I always laugh when he's there and he's by himself, and he's supposed to be by himself, and he's climbing this thing, and then like, hang on, who's holding the camera? There's got to be something.
I know, right? You're like wait a second.
It's like, oh, and then he's, like 3 a.m. He's got the lamp on and he's recording himself, and it's raining. It's like, hang on. Are you sure you're not sleeping in the Land Rover and you just ducked into the tent?
Yeah, to have your moment.
Where was I going with that?
I don't know. I mean, there's a few people that like hunt, and I don't know many chefs that like. There's a few chefs that like hunt and gather, and like, but there's not a whole heap that do live fire like I do here.
And definitely not chicks.
No, very few.
I love that you're somewhat of a pioneer there. I'm just conscious of your time, everyone's time. You've got some work to do. What I want to do, did I have any more questions? Not really. What I want to do now is we're going to turn this off, have a stretch.
Yep.
Do a wee if you need to, and then we're going to do a quick 10-minute Q&A. Is that cool?
Okay.
So it's for our subscribers.
Okay.
Yeah, is that cool? Can we do that?
Yep.
Pretty standard questions.
Okay.
Hey, awesome.
Thanks
so
Charlie.
much. That was so good. I so
pleasure.
enjoyed that.
Oh, good.
We've been talking about this for some years now, and so for it to actually happen.
I know, in California of all places.
I know, it was just serendipitous, and to be in such a lovely place.
So lovely.
The Ecology Centre here in San Juan
Capistrano. I probably butchered that, but that's all right.
Well, you did a better job than me. Okay, Sarah, awesome. Thanks so much.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love your support by subscribing, rating and reviewing The Regenerative Journey on your favourite podcast platform. You help us reach more people and keep the show thriving for seasons to come. Each time you listen, you're choosing to make a positive shift in your own world. And if an episode speaks to you, please pass it on to friends, family or communities who might be inspired too. For more details and episodes, visit www.charliearnott.com.au.